think I can, but I'm not too sure, not sure at all. In fact, I think I rather fear, I hate to admit, but I'm starting to feel that maybe, just maybe, I can't. It's a bit like life. You try your best, you do your darndest with 50 horsepower, and all you get is a kick in the pants from 700 horsepower. North of Mackay, the face of the country begins to change. From here on, Bundy will be steaming through days of high heat and high humidity, through a landscape defined by storms and floods. This is the southern gateway to a place of lushness and colour, one of the world's great showcases of natural beauty and variety. The gateway to the wet tropics. Settlement and sugar cropping have stripped the land of natural vegetation. About all that's left clings to the ocean shore, where the line threads its way through the mangroves, strange salty forests. They too were once considered a nuisance, something that blocked a nice view of the sea, something to be cleared away. But the mangroves are a nursery, home and shelter for a wealth of aquatic life, much of it prized seafood, creatures that scuttle and swim around the salty shallows, and every now and again make a bad career move.
Son. Forward.
We're now a long, long way from Australia's southern capitals. The pioneering years were tough up here. Distance and isolation bred North Queenslanders who were self-reliant, self-sufficient, and scornful of those down south who had it easier. In some ways they still are. Nowadays the North's got every convenience on tap, but there's still a lingering rivalry between folks in the north and folks in the south. A century ago, that rivalry was at boiling point. The locals reckoned their burgeoning wealth, built on sugar, was unfairly taxed, to the great advantage of the south. Some of the northern settlers clung to a united Queensland, but many others, especially in the sugar industry, demanded a brand new breakaway colony. Self-rule for the north.
Which way do you think we're going?
Oh, honestly, I don't know. Could be.
Which path to take?
Might be off to the side there. I still think we're going to go straight ahead and have a look. Yeah.
The debate almost tore Queensland in two, but was suddenly overtaken by the greater question of nationhood. The Australian colonies were on the verge of federation. The Great Agreement of 1901 that would forge the old British colonies into a new country, the new Australia. The North soon saw the advantages that lay down this track. Free trade, ready markets for sugar. Federation won the day. Separation was off the agenda, and there were new faces in the cane fields. Enter the Italians.
Welcome, fellas. Come and join us for a barbecue here, right? I'll introduce you to some locals. How are you? Ernesto Francesco Velenotti. Idla Toscana. And Sandra Prima.
Pasta alla contadina.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
Realistically, Ingham is probably one of a real museum of multiculturalism.
Yeah, very good.
Because it's one of the rare areas where so many cultures have blended together. Well, they've had to, and that's the biggest thing about Ingham. The Italian is the strongest because there's so many of us here.
Le donne venivano raggiate perché lui faceva tanto fumo, you know? E loro andavano fuori, facevano, you know,
And, I came out to Australia with my mother in 1955. My father was already here cutting cane. I learned to speak English at school, but at home I always spoke Italian. And so therefore I can speak English fluently, ma posso anche parlare italiano perfettamente perché è così mi posso parlare in italiano and I can also speak English fluently.
Next bloody thing, the fella come up and she hit this bloody Hudswell Clark, eh? The locos went up like that. We stand up on the cutting watching them, eh? We took off, bugger.
Hajjam Beata said, I would think we'd kill it, but nothing happened. So that's the good one I can remember. It was a good one. I never forget the one there.
They didn't expect the Italians to actually become part of the community and mostly importantly, part of the business community. And they started buying up farms and eventually the cane industry in North Queensland was mainly all Italian.
The land is rich and fertile where the sugar grows, but it's infinitely more rare and precious where the sugar stops. Cane fields and bananas, intensely cropped in the far north, have relentlessly destroyed entire valleys of wild lowland rainforest. Precious little has survived. The remnants crisscrossed by streams and too wet to farm. Thankfully, the rail lines running through these fragile places are little used these days. Rainforest is resilient, and a canopy of branches will someday grow back over the gash cut by the rails. But if Bundy was the last train ever to pass through here, the trees wouldn't mind a bit. To exploit every last fragment of arable land, the cane rows are run hard against the narrow belts of trees protecting coastline and riverbanks. And the old forest fights to hold the line against the exotic invader. The prospects for the rainforest are brightest where national parks have been declared. The line still runs along the river, but only because it was here first and the park came later.